at some point in their life? Awesome. Awesome. Who here hasn't painted ever? Okay. Now, in those people who have raised their hands, have you at least drawn with a pencil, doodled, scribbled? Awesome. So, in this case, I can gladly say and start off by saying we can all relate. The last one Mondays I did, I got everybody to do an exercise because I really wanted to show you my language. Today I said no because of a different media that I will share, and I will share the painting with you after. But I really want to get into, right away, just sharing my insight, because it could actually, if not change someone's life here, it could at least change the lives of children. So, Laura, thank you so much for bringing your kids out, because if there's anyone that I do try to influence, it is children. The stories we heard previous were very powerful in that there is a commonality, and that's a whole mental illness sort of aspect. Now, if I could go back to Gord and Laura, to the child version or to the younger version of themselves, I would have offered information that probably could have changed the entire outcome of their life and not have been so difficult. The reason why I say this is because in times where, for myself, and a little bit about my background is, I'm an identical twin, yes. I did not grow up with any really social issues. As a twin, you're so cool. Everybody really wants to meet the twins, hear how you sound, hear what you do it together, and we were the cool kids. So we grew up with confidence, friends, abundance, love. Now, there's a point in your life where you start to discover things about yourself, and that creates that uniqueness about you can often be misunderstood because you want to express it. So in times where if I would have gone to a place where, let's say I started to self-talk negatively, I can't do this, I shouldn't do that. There was one moment of my life as a child that would always talk me back into my highest form, but the side of me that is real. And that was through the process of actually creating art. You see, when I create art, or when we create art, despite the scientific elements that are occurring within our body, that is all happy vibes, you're actually communicating to yourself, to your soul, to the inner voice within you. So here's where, if it's okay with you guys, I'd love to just sort of share with you guys what my newfound philosophy, I've been a single mother of children, twin boys for a while. I've been through many adversities. We've all gone through a lot of difficulties. And in the hardest times of my life, I've discovered an actual business in art, through art. And here's where I'm here to share that. So if it's okay with you guys, can I share that? Okay.
Absolutely.
Imagine a world where there is no language. You see, language being the most powerful form of communication today, through books, through information, through education, it's how we elevate our status. In many ways, we're determined, our value is determined by the knowledge we have through the language that we learn. Communicating with multiple languages is a powerful tool. Now, how many here speak more than 2 languages? Okay, so we all speak one language, is that English? Okay, so we only have 2 people in the room that speak another language, which means if I was to speak Spanish, most of you guys wouldn't understand. Do you guys get the flow? How languages actually could be a barrier. So I discovered something so exciting that has changed my life and is actually changing the life of every single person that crosses my path. What I've discovered, and it's the biggest discovery of my life, is art, despite the skill, is actually a language. It is actually the most powerful language of the universe. To give you an example, even to write a letter, it was built from a doodle, right? A doodle that turned into a letter, that turned into a collaboration of words, that then became a language that we understand, and that's how we receive knowledge. It's kind of complicated. You really have to learn the language before you can receive the information. So I'm here to tell you guys today that I can actually guarantee you, going forward, if you truly want to communicate to every single person around you, your children, your parents, if you see people with a disorder, for example, that don't know how to sit in the space to explain what they're going through, I promise you, if you ask them to grab a pencil and a paper, or a paintbrush, or any doodling tool, you will discover more about that person than any word that they can describe. There is no English language or any vocabulary that can describe the language that your soul has to say when it's said through art. So is that not powerful?
Yes.
Thank you. So I tend to get very serious when I talk about stuff like this, but I'm very animated, so I also like to get very animated. So I'm just going to continue going with the flow, because for me it is the most powerful form of communication that I'm now introducing into this world, as it's no longer about a skill, it's about a connection. In a world filled where we are desiring connections, we all desire connections. I promise you, there's one language that can connect you all very quickly, very easily, and to be able to share that with others, which is why I've come here today to paint. Because ultimately what I'm going to do today is communicate something to all of you about what is happening right now. What does this moment mean? What is this? What does this represent? Us coming up here speaking, sharing our stories. What does it all matter? What matters is it's all energy. And energy is, for me, translated into art and then communicated right back to you. So I'm very grateful to just be here today. I'm not sure how much time I have, but I know that I've really gotten my message across. I truly believe that art is the foundation of communication, and it has, in my life, personally, gotten me through. It has allowed me to talk myself out, because when you're creating in art, two things are happening. You've unlocked your imagination. When your imagination is at play in your life, there is infinite possibilities to what you can actually imagine as a reality for yourself. Secondly, when you're creating art, of course, like everything, the more you practice, the better you get, you start to really feel confident about what you're doing. You start to feel good about what happens. And in that feeling, your conversation with yourself, as a child, the conversation with myself, was always, you're so amazing. You're really good. Wow, did you do that? Did you just create that? And I used to show people, what is this? What do you see? What do you see when you see this? And the things that people would tell me about what they saw in my painting was like as if they were talking to me. So it was my way of almost commanding positivity in my life. So art to me is the #1 communication in the world. It trumps all else, and if you think about it, 40% of us communicate visually. So at the end of this, I would love to share with you guys the painting that I create. It really is going to harness the energy that everyone has today. Your thoughts are energy. I feel it, I translate it, I create a visual to what we all think. Fiona Mondays, thank you guys for allowing me to come and expose myself. Fiona has been an investor in in paintings that I've created because it resonated to her through her language, through her soul, to her subconscious. And I'm very grateful because I'm here today to support you back in thinking that you have taken an incredible decision and risk at running an event like this to bring us together. So thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. And if there's one thing that I can ask you guys, I'll step back here for the camera, so I'm sorry. This is a call to action. Go home and create. Do something artistic. Do something, allow your soul to come out. I promise what's going to happen after will unlock things in your life that nobody can unlock for you. Nobody. No motivational coach. There are certain things about the psychology behind your creation that truly, as a soul being, activates all your senses. And that is why art is the most powerful form of communication, because all your senses are actively creating and co-creating together to give you an incredible outcome that you can look back at and be reminded to the beauty that is within you. So, thank you guys very much.